If you're watching on the AFA channel, live shot of Times Square. Busy, busy day in New York. We're getting some rain. They said maybe some snow. I just wanted to punch my radio when I heard that this morning. Anyway, they're also saying if you have a meaningful story about what AFR has done in your life, we need you to call a number that you can call and give your personal firsthand account of how AFR, AFA Today, AFR Talk, all the stuff that we do here has impacted you. If it's made you have greater awareness of what's going on in the culture, if it's in some way assisted you in all of that, we want you to call us and tell us your story about that. And that number is 877-876-8893, 877-876-8893. But make sure you do that, because Share-a-thon's just around the corner, and you may hear your story during Share-a-thon, which would be kind of cool. Calvin McCullough is glad to be with you. My phone number is 888-589-8840, 888-589-8840. So the most transparent White House, we found out today, back in 2009, began rewriting the Freedom of Information Act so that if they didn't really want to give you access to the information that you deserve to have as their bosses, for their White House, they were going to put that stuff under review. You could have access to what Bush did and what Clinton did and what Bush before him and Reagan and Carter and Ford and Nixon and all the rest of you can have access to them. But for the White House, this special White House, this White House that is, the exception to every rule White House, they were going to let you only have information if they approved it in advance, regardless of what a judge said. Lawlessness. 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 That's what you can call this White House. They don't follow the law. Ever. Or almost. Okay, so there's that story. I told you about the joker over at the Environmental Protection Agency. Yeah, he didn't know what he was doing, and he crafted all of the guidelines for the EPA. So that's good stuff. We're going to put this huge penalty on businesses, and we're going to punish them, and we're going to make them pay for being businesses. And at the end of the day, he had no experience, no expertise, no nothing in environmental, and he basically fooled a lot of people. We're just finding that out today as well. But let me go to this next story, because this is even a more egregious trampling on our liberties and who we are and what we're about than the last one. And that's a pretty big one, because that's a constitutional one. I think the dateline for this story is Hempstead, California. No. Texas. Hempstead, Texas. Okay. This is in the Houston Chronicle. But the Hempstead School Board is not going to renew the contract of a principal in Hempstead, Texas. Now, do you want to know why they're not going to renew her contract in Hempstead, Texas? Did she have an affair with one of the students? Was she caught in a tawdry situation in the back of a Volkswagen Beetle, steamy windows, and some 14-year-old teenager with his shirt off? And no, none of that. That didn't happen. Did she in some way embezzle funds from the taxpayers that pay her to be the principal for the? No, that didn't happen. Did she in some way abuse school property or commit violence or have something really, really terribly go? No, that didn't happen. The Hempstead School Board is refusing to renew the contract for Principal Amy Lacey because she was placed on paid administrative leave in December after repeatedly announcing via the intercom that students were not to speak Spanish while in school. In other words, when they're at school, in the midst of the school learning environment, aside from Spanish class, that they were to speak English during the day. Augustin Pinedo, director of the League of United Latin American Citizens, Region 18, said, when you start banning aspects of ethnicity or cultural identity, it sends the message that the child is not wanted. We don't want your color. We don't want your kind. They then tend to drop out early. Except, Mr. Augustine, she didn't say she didn't allow a certain color or a certain kind. She said in a taxpayer-funded public schoolroom that citizens of the United States pay for, that while school was in session, the students in the halls speaking to the teachers, speaking to one another, in the hallways, in the school, were to speak the language of this nation. In other words, she didn't infringe upon their ethnicity, their cultural reality. She didn't say, take your stinky Mexican flag back to Mexico. She didn't say anything like that. She didn't say anything slamming someone's ethnicity or gender or color or sexual orientation or anything else for that matter. She said, on this campus during the school day, we will speak English. After all, part of the requirements of a public school in Texas is to have graduates who can functionally speak the actual language of the culture that they're sending their kids into. She lost her job for wanting the kids to do what they were learning to do. Up, down, inside out, all around. Professor Steve Murdoch at Rice University said, such fast growth is pervasive in Texas. Half of all Texas public school students are now Hispanic. When you look at issues related to education in Texas, to a great extent, you're looking at the education of Hispanic children. No one doubts that. But will Hispanic children be better off learning the English language in an American culture? Well, it will be if they have any desire to be part of that culture and to contribute to that culture and to do things that help advance that American culture. This isn't anything about ethnicity. This is about functional practicality of the use of language in a society. And if you don't have mutual understanding of one another, you're going to have mass chaos. Civil rights advocates say the suspension may have set off a campaign to intimidate Hispanics, including the district superintendent, Delma Flores Smith. They're calling for the Department of Justice and the FBI to investigate possible civil rights violations. She asked him to speak Spanish during the school day on the campus of the school grounds. And now they want to send her to jail for violating civil rights. Did she say you had to unlearn Spanish? Did she say you couldn't speak Spanish in other places? Did she say that anything beyond the school day or the time that the children are there is no? She's just trying to help the students be prepared for what they're going to go into the real world for. Unless we think it's a great idea to have a whole bunch of people speaking Spanish and not really know English that well in America. If that's the case, if that's what we want, then we should establish that and we should allow that and we should communicate to everyone. But if that's not such a great idea, what did she do wrong? 888-589-8840. I have got so much to talk with you. I told you it was a big news day today. Let's get to John from Michigan, who wants to go first on the issue of the government being honest. Hi, John. Welcome. Glad you're with us.
Yes. How are you doing today, Kevin?
I'm good, John. Go right ahead.
Well, I believe in my heart that we do need to speak out against this. Yes, I do believe that. But also, we need somebody back in the office like Reagan and like Kennedy again. And we did have them, but they got voted out. They did.
All right, John. Appreciate the call. 888-589-8840, 888-589-8840. Let's go to Lori in Alabama. Hello, Lori. Welcome. You're on with Kevin McCullough. Glad you're here.
Kevin, did you mean Marie?
I'm sorry. They said it was Lori on line 2, but if you're Marie, then I'm speaking with Marie. Go right ahead.
I'm Marie. Yes, sir. First of all, I feel in my heart that apart from God sending revival in this land, I just don't see it turning around. And my prayer has been just that God would send revival. But my question to you, Kevin, is this. Excuse me. We have the Constitution. We have these men and women in Washington that took the oath to support it. And we then have them pass a law that nobody reads, Obamacare.
Right.
Nobody reads that. And I say, how is that even possible? Wouldn't that just in itself, make it no longer law that nobody read it? And, this continual lawlessness that goes on, not just with the White House, but with Eric Holder and his branch of the government and all of this stuff. Would all of those people not be able to be held for treason? I mean, isn't that what that is?
I don't know if lawlessness falls into the same definition as treason. Treason to me implies a hostility against the country that you're part of. These people would certainly say that they're not hostile towards America. They just administrate America differently. But the real problem that you have there, Marie, is not the ones that are doing the evil, the wrongdoing, because they're doing it right out in the open.
I agree. I know.
The real problem is that you have Mitch McConnell and John Boehner, who are feckless imps in terms of doing anything about it. And so, they wring their hands and they take public opinion polls and they try to figure out, where the voters are going to come down on it, and then they want to be liked. And so they're trying to carry favor, but they don't want to make the other side mad, and they're trying to do all this stuff. And if you have no moral courage, you should not be in leadership. That's just it. Because when you're put there, the reason that you're there is to be both a champion for things that need to get advanced, and you need to be a sheriff against the things that need to be stopped. And at the end of the day, I don't know that the opposition leadership is doing anything to accomplish any of that. And that's not on Obama. That's on the GOP. The GOP is allowing the lawlessness to continue at a rapid rate and doesn't seem to be that bothered by it. You have people like Mike Lee and Ted Cruz and Rand Paul and others that are speaking up and saying things about it. But they're not. None of them are in leadership to the degree that they can hold hearings or anything else. I mean, Darrell Issa, God bless him, he's doing everything he can to try to bring people to the table and hold them accountable. But he's been stymied at almost every turn as well. 888-589-8840. Michelle in Texas wants to talk about the principal in Hempstead. And Michelle, go right ahead. You're on with Kevin McCullough. Glad you're here.
Oh, good morning. Good afternoon. Afternoon. I apologize. God bless everybody.
It's okay. I get confused about what time of day it is, too, so no worries.
Oh, God bless our soldiers and our military as well, our
Amen.
nation.
Yep.
And God bless you. My comment is on the principal. Am I correct?
That's what you called in about, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm Puerto Rican. Full blood as far as blood goes, okay, but I'm American. American raised, American born. But my mom, when I was younger, all I knew was Spanish, and when I had to start school, I was actually punished for speaking Spanish once I started school.
At home?
So, oh, yeah. Yeah. I got
So your mom said, little mamacita, when you go to school today, you're going to speak English all day. And when you come home, you're going to practice what you learned.
That's right. That's right.
Wow.
The only time I spoke Spanish, really, after that, is to my grandmother, because she's old school, so it was a little hard for her to speak full English.
Which I totally get. And I'm not trying to say that, 80-year-old grannies need to be forced to learn English. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about kids that are in the public school system.
Well, I could tell you this. My son, he's 21 now. But when he was even in the public school, even now in college, right? Oh, he corrects everybody on English. Everybody says they need to carry a dictionary when they're speaking with him because he speaks the correct English.
Good for him. Good for him. And you know what? He's probably going to be blessed in his career and life and in relationships for it, because the more skill set he has across that divide in his life, the more tools he has to be successful with. This principal should be given an award, not fired. 888-589-8840. But what do you think? I want to know. AFA Today on AFR Talk. I'm Kevin McCullough. So glad you're with us each and every weekday. Stay with us.